So I heard the dev community's been doing some reactions lately. As the main React dev on YouTube, I feel like it's my job to come in and add some React to the equation. So without further ado, this is Theo reacts to Prime reacts to Professor reacts to Prime reacts to FP. Yeah, let's do it.
So apparently there is a professor that reacted to me, reacting to Dave Farley about functional programming is not better than OOP. I'm a little nervous because, one, I hate hearing myself talk. I think all people don't really like hearing themselves talk back.
Speak for yourself.
And B, I also don't plan anything I'm going to say. I just kind of
Understandable.
freeform, okay? I kind of ejaculate words out of my mouth. And so...
Wasn't he just complaining about how he's been getting demonetized? Like, I don't know, has it been 30 seconds since my video started? Because you can't say ejaculate in the first 30 seconds. Editor's note, censor both him and me saying it if it's before the first 30. You can't say those things this early, Prime. That's the one rule. Like, they even say this now explicitly. Nothing even vaguely sexual or curse wordy or anything a brand would be upset with in the first 30 seconds. Only rule. Anyways.
Just like that phrase. That phrase was not necessarily a planned phrase, but it still came out the face hole. And so here we are, reacting to a reaction of a reaction, okay?
I tell my wife every time I teach this particular lecture, like, this is such a snooze fest. So I've decided this time...
Average Dr. Disrespect enjoyer. You can just tell right away this man is an average Dr. Disrespect enjoyer right there. Just hitting him with the snooze fest. You know for a fact this guy is out there just being like, my students just flapping their gums all day. Dude, it's so good.
Especially because we're trying to squeeze it in a little bit. Let's only talk about the stuff that matters, and let's try and make it a bit more fun. So this was what the outline looked like as of October.
Am I being tricked into talking about OOP again? I'm going to be really upset. I mean, I know it's an FP thing, but I haven't seen anything functional yet. This is all OO shit. I'm not happy.
We're 22nd, or, a few days ago. This is what it's going to be today.
I am really deeply feeling uncomfortable right now. I really don't want to know what stupid opinion I had. And I can't believe I sound like a cartoon
We're
character.
We're going to start...
I am already lost. This is going to be fun.
...by watching Primogen, who is...
Said the name right!
Wait, did they watch a Prime video in class? Am I understanding this correctly? Is Prime's content being brought into the classroom as part of a lecture? On one hand, based. On the other hand, the kids are so fucked.
The name right. Let's go. Random B tier blog. Let's go. Dude, the guy, he likes it. Prototype-based language, JavaScript. Get the hell out of here.
Somebody that I just found, one of my friends showed me him a little bit ago. We're going to still focus heavily on the core concepts of OO, because that's something that actually matters. You guys think that you know what OO is. You don't even know what the concepts are.
Oh, no. I think I know what he's going to quote me on. I think I know what's about to happen here.
I have no idea what's about to happen because I haven't seen any of the original content. This is the first time I've consumed any of this chain.
But you've written a lot of OO, so it's going to be familiar.
Deeply uncomfortable.
Then we're going to look at this kind of bad blog, but it shows an interesting point. We're going to skip prototype-based stuff entirely, talk a little bit about this language called Smalltalk.
Smalltalk. The funny part is that every time I hear someone talk about Smalltalk, it's almost universally pretty positive, which is strange because it seems like Smalltalk would be awful, but I've heard so many positive things about it, I'm just having a hard time believing that. Smalltalk is a true OOP, apparently. It is the...
So, I've talked about this a little bit. I need a good term for this, like a theoism for this particular phenomena, where the reason React, the frameworks, also adding more React in, can't help myself, the reason the React framework has so much less satisfaction per average user than a lot of these newer frameworks isn't just because Svelte is 10 times better than React, so it's 10 times more likely you'll enjoy it. It's because the average person working with React didn't pick it. It's just what was being used already. Whereas the average person using Svelte, they picked it, they already are biased towards it. That's why they're using it. When you are talking about smaller things that are part of a niche community, the people who use it are biased towards it. That's why they're in that community. So the reason we don't hear bad things about Smalltalk is because everyone using it likes it. Whereas we hear bad things about React every day because the average user isn't using it because they liked it. They're using it because it's what you use. So yeah, I need a term for this. I don't have one, but that's what I'm expecting is happening here.
The only true Scotsman. How's the weather? Driven development. Smalltalk. Yeah, because nobody is actually using it anymore. Okay, I mean, that's fair. Fair. If you want modern Smalltalk, you can try Pharaoh. I don't want modern Smalltalk. Okay? It's like Latin. Everyone knows that it exists, but no one actually speaks it out loud.
You've probably never heard of, but is extremely influential. So, with that said, welcome to Professor Reacts to Primogen Reacts to Functional Programming is not better than OOP.
Nope. It's missing two. It's Theo reacts to Primogen reacts to Professor reacts to Primogen reacts to Functional Programming is not better than OOP. Just wanted to set the record straight here.
Please like and subscribe.
Agreed. Like and subscribe. Buttons are right there. Just hit them, guys. Come on.
One of my most...
Yes!
How many YouTube bars are visible right now? We got mine, we got the one for the video he's watching, we got the one in the presentation, and 3 titles as well. We're killing it here, guys. This is great. Dark Viper's gonna have a fucking aneurysm if we're not careful.
Let's go! Man, this professor's pretty good. This professor's pretty good because I never remember to say like and subscribe, and he's out here just doing the Lord's work for me. All right, this might be a little bit low.
Oh, there's one more YouTube bar here too. We're so deep, boys. We're so deep.
So I'm not exactly sure. I may have to like bump up the volume, okay? And then it might get really loud when the professor talks. Just an ear warning, okay? Ear warning.
Like and subscribe.
One of my most successful videos on this channel so far compares functional
I have to turn him up a bit now too, god damn it.
and object-oriented programming. This is an interesting topic, and clearly not just to me. But there's more to this debate than we discussed in that episode. This is one of those debates that, to be honest, seems a little weird to me.
I think I could have agreed with this take not too long ago. Real talk, I really do think I would be on the...
Yeah, so we're currently talking about the debate between functional versus OO. Which one is better?
Functional is better. This isn't even an argument. I have multiple videos about this already, but looks like we're making another.
Primogen is a Netflix senior engineer. He's got
Works at Netflix, by the way.
like 2 decades of experience writing code. He's also like a Twitch streamer that, is kind of funny. So,
Hey!
Be careful. He doesn't deserve too much credit. He's funny for a programmer, but funny is a high bar. Funny is a really high bar.
We got kind of funny, okay? I think I could put that on the shelf. I feel like that is going to work out. Oh, man. In fact, that's turning into a tweet right there. And boom.
I guess I have to go make a tweet as well now. That's how this works, right? There's my tweet. I'm following all the steps. Hope I get all my good streamer points after this one.
I'll accept it. I'm going to accept it. I'm accepting kind of funny. Not like fully funny. Not like Zach Galifianakis funny. But, we're getting places, okay? We're getting places. 3 out of 5 funny. Yeah, a solid 3 out of 5 funny. Some professor while shrugging. While shrugging.
we're going to watch just a little bit of this.
Strange debate kind of talk. Maybe if you would have asked me 5 years ago, 7 years ago, hey, Prime, what do you think on the functional versus non-functional debate? I'd probably have some stupid-ass take, right? This was probably during the height, maybe if you went 8 years ago, my height of loving RxJS, and I'd have been like, reactive functional programming is so great, right? But I really don't even know what functional programming is at that point. Still don't even really know what it is. I'm just going to be straight up here.
Does anybody really know what functional programming is?
Motherfucker, don't try me.
Procedural programming is greater than everything else.
What is procedural programming?
All I know about procedural programming is that it's based. I know a bit, but it's one of those things that's hard to properly define, and I'm excited to see how 4 layers of other devs try to before I embarrass myself.
Let's go.
I also just realized he has this paused on a D's nuts joke in front of a classroom. Maybe Gen Z will be all right.
Anybody really know what functional programming? I mean, Pick does. Pick knows, but I don't know. Okay, I don't really know. Like, okay, I'm not a Haskeller. Okay, even my only baseline experience in functional programming is my brief little foray, my little dip in my hot dog into OCaml, and that was not like. It's not like OCaml is considered real functional programming to the Haskellers. Haskellers look down on OCaml. They're like, oh, OCaml, that's not even real, right? And so it's just like, OCaml, my camel feels real, but apparently it's not really real. Tej surely knows functional by now. No, he doesn't. He only knows OCaml. TJ isn't a real functional programmer yet, okay? It has a while loop in it. It's fake functional programming. It is fake functional programming.
While loops are on the line, that's fair. For loops, you're over. That's you're back in OOP. But a while loop, a condition can. I could be convinced either way. I also can't help but notice this is such a small thing, and you can't see it when I have the video unpaused. You can a little bit. His playback bar rotates from over to under his microphone. There's some weird shit going on with the chroma keying, and I can't unsee it now.
Okay.
Is it like scripting pretty much? No, it's different than that. You guys have all written procedural code.
I love
C is procedural. It means you use a function.
Yes.
A procedure is called a function.
I love it.
If you wrote functions, you've done procedural code. He's using it in a slightly different sense, in that everyone talks about Rust being procedural. They just say that because they want to pretend it's like C.
This is so good.
Yep.
I love this professor so much.
Anyway.
Oh my goodness, that is such a good take. They just want to pretend Rust is like C. They just wish Rust actually was based, but
Pre-watched. Clearly, Prime watched me reacting to him ahead of time. There's another reaction layer here. That's the only reason he thought that was funny.
But it's not based, okay? It's never been based. It just always wished it could be, but they can't. You know, and should we ever be surprised that an authoritarian language has people that are running it that are authoritarian? No, we shouldn't. We should not be surprised. This is great.
My stance is not that I hate functional programming and love OO, or vice versa, but rather that I think of each of these approaches as tools, rather than things to go to war about. So
I'm not even... So this whole idea of saying...
So it's not a proper React video if I don't get one guide by chat, right? Let me go on my one guy quick. Do you ever code on stream or do you just react to videos? Genuine question. I think the one thing I do less than code on stream is react to videos. I've done this a total of maybe 4 times in the history of my channel. I am the furthest thing from a React content creator beyond the React framework. I react to content way less than Prime or any of the other creators that usually are the ones talking shit. I just thought it'd be funny to jump in on this meme. That all said, no, I don't code on stream that much because I don't like coding in front of people. I like coding to solve problems. And then I come back and talk about the cool things I did with code. I'll do like demos and examples and things live, but entertaining an audience when I'm trying to write real code, you're compromising on one, if not both in that process. And the only reason I stream is to make good videos for YouTube. I'd rather use code externally on my own as a way to make better content. So there's my one guy moment. I need to make sure my chair is sitting here while the video plays at some point, and I need to order some delivery food and loudly eat while I'm watching. Once I have all of that covered, I will be a true React streamer for the first time.
that I think of each of these approaches as tools, rather than things to go to war about. So
I'm not even... So this whole idea of saying that a language paradigm is a tool is an interesting take to begin with, right? I'm trying not to insult
And it's
them.
a wrong take. A paradigm...
There's nothing better than when you're trying to be the like somewhat polite content creator, especially when you're doing something like reaction content, where if you are too negative, you will be perceived as the aggressor, especially if you're reacting to somebody who could be seen as punching down. So I very much sympathize with Prime number 1 here, behind the Prime, and how he wanted to say what was just said in that video was outright wrong. But since he's borrowing their content to do such, it felt weird. And having someone else come in for you and be like, nah, he's wrong, it feels really good. It's like the biggest relief for someone else to say the thing you were not able to for any of many social dynamic reasons that start to happen in these situations.
Paradigm is a perspective.
Let's go!
Functional programming is not a tool.
that
It's a
excitement right
way
there.
to look at a problem.
Let's go!
Then
That's
the
such a good way to
language
say it.
itself is a tool that you can use to solve that problem.
Oh, I love that. That's actually a really good take, by the way. Base professor dunking on Prime. This was perfect. I got dunked on, and I am completely okay with it. That is like the perfect way to say it, by the way, is that it is a paradigm. It's a way to look at a problem. It is not a tool. That was perfect. This was fantastic. Let's go. Retake it. I'm doing a quick retake. Retake, that's my opinion. That you know that meme where the guy hands an opinion to somebody else and then somebody else is holding it and then they're just like, that's my opinion. That's now my opinion. This is my opinion. That's mine. You're welcome, Professor.
You can keep that one, Prime. It's an okay opinion.
But the paradigm is a perspective.
Because is it a tool or is one objectively better than the other? Because they're both an equalizer, if you will. They both simply
I disagree with a lot of this. It's kind of nonsense.
Whoa! I don't think it's nonsense.
I like the framing.
Oh, God, that was loud.
They both can end with the same result, is what I was saying. Okay, I got wrecked. Wholesome man becomes wrecking me here. Okay, but I mean, what I was saying is they both can end in the exact same result. Both can produce the same end software, though Haskell has never actually delivered to production. I hear it can, and I hear it's the best software ever. He disagrees, so he fast forwards. Well, he has to. It's not like he can just sit there and do that. But is it actual? Like, what?
This is the difference between a teacher and a reactor. When a teacher runs into something that they don't agree with, they fast forward. When a reactor and a content creator stumbles on something they don't agree with, they rewind and play it back.
One problem I always see is that efficiency of tools is the largest indicator of whether or not your project is going to be successful. The first time that I wrote Harpoon, I wrote it terrible because I really didn't know NeoVim. The second time I'm writing Harpoon, I'm doing a lot better. And it's just simply a proficiency of tool problem. Now that I know my tool better, I can now use it and write better. And so if you are really adept at functional programming, you can program pretty much any problem using functional programming. And so is there any real, is there a difference in the end? It's always a skill issue. Life is literally a skill issue, just constantly happening.
I think we can skip through actually a lot of this.
Versus oriented is like that something is leaning towards or going towards it. Anyways, I could agree with this take so far. Okay, me and this Dave guy
have changed. This is an interesting insight and certainly bears some relationship to how I usually design systems, even though, as I've said before, I think of my approach as more object-oriented than functional. Definitions of OO usually include abstraction, which allows us to hide unnecessary details,
I don't like that word, okay? I'm a 1D programmer. I like one level of abstraction. Anytime you're working with an abstraction of abstractions, it becomes this insanity to refactor. Like the moment you need to change something.
Are you saying that adding layer upon layer upon layer upon layer to something isn't necessarily a good idea? Because I clearly disagree, considering that I'm making this video right now.
You have to change so many fundamental assumptions. Wow, that's not even assumptions about what you've done. And it just like blows things up.
Yes. Anyone here have that happen to them? Anyone here work in really abstracted environments to make every problem feel simple? Anyone here?
We've all been there. I would argue dependency injection's the opposite version of the same problem. It's still kind of abstraction, but it results in a similar chaos. There's a lot of ways you can end up in abstraction hell. And yeah, I have not, by the time we're talking about abstractions, we've already probably lost the plot.
I work in an enterprise platform in which every single problem needs to feel simple, and therefore a simple problem, which is one line of code at the end of the day, feels nice. But the moment you need to change it, the amount of underlying things you need to change to remain this one line of code being nice is crazy.
Man, it would really suck if you had a return type definition on every single function in your code base so that when you changed what one dependency was returning, you had to go and update every single type for every single layer that uses that. Good thing nobody in this community or the people that we're talking to here would ever recommend something like that when you can infer the return type and have a lot of those additional steps not actually need to exist. That'd be crazy.
Find that abstractions, though they look nice in their end product, like, you tell me this does not feel good. When you come up with an abstraction that when you write it out in like its final line, it's like one line of code and you're like, dot, do that, dot, done that. Boom, look at me.
Even the hand gestures are the same. Prime is so consistent. It's incredible. I don't want to say trivially, but like in a couple years, a Prime AI is 100% achievable because there is like deterministic behavior with this motherfucker. It doesn't matter what day of the week, how well slept he is, what he's been up to. You put the same thing in front of him and say, give me your opinion. It's going to come out exactly the same every single time.
Raise of hands. How many people agree with that statement? You reach that point, it's so nice.
It is so nice. How good I am. You feel it.
The exact same. Yeah, God, that's hilarious. Maple just said in chat, Prime is Turing complete. Yep.
So smooth.
I totally
The same hand in the face.
agree
Oh my
with
God.
me, okay? I was right on that one. I was 100% right on this one. Pre-watched, pre-reacted.
And then somebody comes along and is like, I need to add one. And you're just like, my life. I hate myself and I hate everything here and I'm going to quit my job. Right? Like, it's just like you somehow ruin your life over like the simplest request because you think you have something great and then all of a sudden you're completely wrong because your abstraction just slightly changes and now you're refactoring an abstraction that's built on an abstraction that's built on an abstraction and your whole life crumbles. I hate it.
Defining one type of thing in terms of another. Polymorphism, being able to access things of different types through the same interface.
Pretty much all of this is functional programming minus inheritance, but I'm sure there's some sort of like type field property inheritance that you can do, right? I'm sure that it literally exists where you can just like map over the properties from one onto another object, and it's like a thing. You can have inheritance in Haskell, yeah.
And encapsulation, which allows us to hide.
Polymorphism isn't just an OO principle, right? I mean, polymorphism.
All right. We have our first definition of OO.
Yeah.
We have 4 principles that make up what is object-oriented: abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism, and encapsulation. And with that, let's actually swap back to slides.
I was really hoping he was going to say that's also functional. Pretty much that is functional programming, right? Like that legitimately, those 4 points minus inheritance. Inheritance probably you could remove off that. Abstraction, encapsulation. I forget the other one. Polymorphism. Like it's not like any of those aren't functional programming. Also, it's emotionally painful. Okay, it's emotionally painful. But hey, Pister Labs, appreciate this reaction. I know you didn't like that part. Okay, sorry you didn't like my full reaction. Okay, I tried my best out there. I don't know if you ever do that, but it's sometimes you just say things and they don't come out necessarily correct. But hey, W Professor,
Yeah.
appreciate that. Hey, like and subscribe.
If he's your professor, you killed it. Like, yeah, that's awesome. I hope there are more and more professors like him that are actually part of these communities online, because as I've said a bunch, and I have more videos coming out about it soon, your presence in the community and your networking and the people you know matters way more than any technical ability or anything you can put on your resume, especially in the current state of the market. You get jobs by being involved. You don't get jobs by filling your resume with cool sounding shit. And if your professor's deep enough in these communities that he's like watching these things, maybe he pops up in chat and stuff and encourages similar behaviors from his students, that's huge. And being involved in these communities that early is massive. Yeah.
Bam, subscribe. Bam, I'm liking it. Professor using Prime videos. W Professor. I know, still a W. A W is a W. That was fun. Hey, thank you very much. The name
Already subscribed.
is the Reactogen.
I want to riff on
right?
this, specifically the encapsulation bit, because I am so tired of this point coming from the OOP people. In my opinion, functional programming does a much better job of encapsulation than OOP does, because functional programming encapsulates logic into individual boxes separate from your data. I'd much rather have my logic encapsulated than my data plus the logic baked in as weird properties. I hate the use of the word encapsulation in these types of things because it makes it sound like other solutions aren't well separated. And I have found that my ability to understand a piece of code and what it affects, in that same sense I would use encapsulation to discuss, is much, much better in FP than it is in OOP. And it's just weird putting it in this list. Of this list, abstraction's a weird term, and usually once you're talking about it, you've already lost like your way. Inheritance, almost always bad. Polymorphism, usually pretty bad. And encapsulation, nonsense term. If this is how OOP is defined, then once again, I am very happy I'm not an OOP guy, because I seriously think it is one of the biggest brain rots that academia prescribed to us in the software dev world. And if Haskell or even like Erlang had caught on at MIT instead of C and C++, we would be in a very different world right now. If you want me to talk more about this OOP versus FP stuff, let me know in the comments. If enough of you say so, maybe I'll actually do it, because I hate this topic. I'm so done with it. But if I need to talk about it more, I will. Let me know what you think. Thank you, Prime, for letting me steal your video that was stolen by Professor, and yada yada. I love reaction content. I don't think it's a big deal. I'm sure you guys are going to complain anyways, but here we are. This is a fun one. Good seeing you guys as always. See you in the next one. Watch whatever's on the side here. Peace, nerds.